Every TV commercial, print ad, or internet banner that you'll ever see are all trying to sell you the exact same thing. It doesn't matter what the product itself is. What they're all trying to sell you is happiness. Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about happiness. I don't mean a bunch of little ways that you can find happiness in the moment. I mean how you can skew your entire life towards being more happy. Now, in the opening there, I was talking about how everyone's trying to sell you happiness. The irony of this is that approximately 3 months after a purchase of any kind, big or small, people's happiness levels are pretty much back to where they were before they bought the thing. And the same thing actually goes for other things like promotions or pay increases or other big life changes. That's because we're basically all on a treadmill. In fact, it's called the hedonic treadmill, and it refers to the concept that once you've made some sort of big upgrade in your life, you're now no longer comparing yourself to the people that you used to be around. You're now comparing yourself to your new peers. So if you move out of a small house and into a big house, you're no longer comparing your big house to the other small houses that were in your old neighborhood. You're now comparing your house to all of the houses in your new neighborhood. And it might be that the house next door is just a little bigger or a little nicer than yours. And so instead of being happy about the new upgrade into the big house that you've gotten, you are busy comparing yourself to the other nicer houses in the neighborhood. This means that your happiness goes back to roughly where it was in the first place. Basically, we all have a happiness set point. Most people hang around neutral, but it's along a spectrum. Some people are a little happier naturally, and some people are a little sadder. If you happen to have one of those happy-go-lucky people in your life, then it might be that they just hit the genetic jackpot. It might just be that they hit the genetic jackpot of happiness. But just because you were born more of an Eeyore and less of a Christopher Robin doesn't mean that you can't take steps to up your happiness levels. Just remember, you're not going to get it from anything that has a price tag. When we think about happiness, it's easy to get it confused with something like joy. While joy is wonderful, it's a feeling, and feelings pass. So happiness in this context is an overarching state of being where other emotions can coexist, even negative ones. Happiness here is defined as contentment and well-being and the emotional flexibility to experience a full range of emotions. Happiness isn't a destination, it's actually the journey. In fact, if you were to sit down and try to figure out what things would make you happy, you would not only come up empty-handed, because like we talked about earlier, no things can make you happy, you'd probably come up even less happy than you were before. So in order to help you figure out how you're going to find your own happiness, we're going to follow one of the founder of positive psychology's formulas. Martin Seligman has created a list of the areas over which we actually have control of our happiness, instead of just being mad about our genetic makeup. The acronym for this is PERMA, and enhancing any of these facets will help boost your happiness, but boosting more than one area will do more good than the sum of its parts. So the first area to work on is P for positive emotions. While we might not have as much control over our day-to-day events as we'd like to, what we do have control over is our perspective. Taking time to pull back on a bad event that's happened to you and see how it fits in with the larger picture of your life will help you put it into some perspective. When something crazy and out of my control happens, like my basement flooding, I try to think about what a story this is going to make when I finally have enough distance from it to laugh about it. This happened to me over the summer, and I can finally laugh about how I used every towel in the house. I literally used a shovel to scoop water out the back door, and I now know that you can't get a baby snake out of your house on a pencil the same way that you can pick up an earthworm with a stick. But it's not going to get better unless you work on it. So start small with something like spilling your coffee and look at it with an eye towards how this is just a teeny tiny blip in the grand scheme of your life. Now, while perspective takes a little longer, takes a little more work, the other tip in this area is much easier and you can implement it right away. And it's called savoring. Think about the best food that you've ever eaten. If I gave you long enough and you started describing it to me, do you feel like you could almost taste it? Do you think you could remember how good that food made you feel? Now just think back to the happiest moment that you've had today. It doesn't have to be some sort of earth-shattering moment, but maybe a friend made you have a deep belly laugh, or one of your coworkers was really kind to you. Now relive it and enjoy it and basically eat it up again. This helps you bank that moment and that feeling in your head. You're helping to overcome your natural evolutionary predisposition to focusing on the negative. Negative moments are automatically banked in our heads in an effort to prevent you from being attacked by a predator again, or from you eating that berry that made you sick. Obviously, these aren't really much of a concern anymore unless you're gonna be on Survivor. While focusing on the negative isn't really serving us anymore, our brains haven't really evolved that much since the Stone Age. So use savoring as a method to help overcome your negativity bias and to sort of hack your brain to help it to be happier. Okay, so next is E. And E is for engagement. Ever get so involved in working on something that you lost track of time? Congratulations, you have experienced the flow state. Angela Duckworth, the author of the book Grit, explains that flow state occurs when you're working on something that you're good at and you enjoy. But it needs to be something that's hard, just not impossible. Playing an instrument, video games, sewing, playing a sport, dancing, really working on anything that you enjoy can produce a flow state. This concept is the prime example of happiness being the pursuit. You're not happy when your flow state is over, you're happy while it's happening. The sheer boost the flow state can get you is one of the biggest reasons that I can think of for going out and getting yourself a hobby. Now, our capitalist society has tried to say over the last few decades in particular that no pursuit is worth anything unless it makes money. I think we've pretty well proven that that is wrong, especially when you consider how many people give up one of their favorite hobbies as soon as they try to make their own Etsy shop out of it. Not everything you do needs to be a side hustle. So go out and find something that you love to do. Even if you suck at it, just try to make some time fly while you're having fun. R is for relationships. Now, I know this is a really hard one right now for a lot of people, but I feel like this whole pandemic has really thrown into a spotlight the real importance of our social interactions. Humans really are social animals. While you may still get really sick of people, you still really need your people. Basically, we're herd animals. We evolved in tribes because we needed the tribe to survive. If you got voted off the island, there was a solid chance that you were going to die. And today, solitary confinement is one of the worst punishments that they can give prisoners. Even whether that's a cruel and unusual punishment is still being argued about today. That's how difficult being completely alone is on the human psyche. The key here, though, with relationships isn't having millions and millions of followers or hitting that 500+ milestone on LinkedIn. With relationships, it's not about quantity, it's about depth. So talk to your friends when you can. Make Zoom dates, or I'm told these things even make phone calls, so you could give that a try. Be intentional and set times that you're going to talk to your friends and family and put them on your calendar. That way you'll make sure that even when life gets crazy, that you've carved out something that's really integral for your happiness, and it's something that will make you and someone else happy. M is for meaning. If you follow Brendan Burchard, you're likely to have heard about the 3 questions that he asked himself every night. The last of which is, did I matter? One of the big factors of human happiness is to know that we matter, that our life has meaning and purpose. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to go out and live some huge public life where you're affecting millions and millions of people. You just need to focus on the small circle of people that are around you and notice how you are improving their lives. How do you help your friends and family? Or what about your coworkers? Or how are you improving the lives of your customers? You don't need to focus on trying to make some big, grandiose gesture every single day. Just focusing on the simple everyday activities that you do to give other people a boost will actually make you happier too. And the last one is A, for accomplishment. Now, if you are an overachieving type A person, this can be a slippery slope. But I am absolutely 100% not talking about tying your productivity to your self-worth. You do not need to squeeze every ounce of productivity out of every second of the day to feel a sense of accomplishment. A sense of accomplishment comes from making a goal and then making a little progress in the direction of that goal. An easy place to look for this is in a job if you happen to work. Take a moment to look at all that you accomplished in that day and be proud of yourself. Another great place to find a sense of accomplishment is in that hobby that we talked about earlier. Setting a goal and then working towards something like trying a new painting technique or mastering a song or knitting a whole row without messing up can all bring this sense of accomplishment. And once you have achieved this goal, take a moment to savor it. Really be proud of yourself and enjoy that feeling. In this way, you're rolling up multiple of these techniques all into one moment, which will really help improve your overall happiness. If you enjoyed this video, you'll probably also enjoy the video that I did about how you can get a more positive mindset and the one about how you can quit your negative thinking. Both of those will be linked on the end screen. Before you go, don't forget to hit like. It really helps me get this video in front of more people that need it. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you never miss a video. Thank you so very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. That they have hit the genetic when something crazy and out of my natural, really working on anything you can, I can't even get it right reading off of it. Give you is one of the best, you'll be sure that you have 3 questions and don't forget to, kind of feel like that's it. I hope.